So I'm up bright and early today for my final ride on the mighty, in more ways than one, 2024 Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. Mighty in more ways than one, because one, it's just a mighty bike, it's mighty fine. Two, it's mighty because it's big, and well, that's it really, that's the more ways than one. Anyway, it's time for my final ride on the bike. It's going to be a sort of a real world vloggy type thing. Stick around, stay tuned, I'll give you my final thoughts on this machine. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to the channel. And as I say, my final ride on the Tiger 900 Rally Pro, which is the more off-roady version of the bike that I've been borrowing for the last couple of weeks. I haven't ridden it quite as much as I ideally would have liked to. It's been a really busy couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to do my more sort of in-depth review, but I thought I'd at least, while I'm out on this final ride, give you a sort of a summing up video, and also a chance to try it again in the real world. Because you join me at 8:02 in the morning. Very rarely you catch me up at this time of day on a motorcycle, but it's an absolutely glorious day, as you can see. And I'm out in classic commute type traffic, so I'll be interested to see how she does in busy traffic in the morning, as much as anything. As well as a bit of a mix of roads. I've got a little bit of motorway to do, a little bit of faster road, a little bit of town work. So it should be quite a good mixed varied final ride. What I would say is, if you hadn't seen my first ride review of the bike, do go back and watch that, because in that I go through, you know, how the thing feels to ride, specifications, pricing, all that kind of stuff. You won't find that on this video. This is more about how the bike makes you feel and whether I could live with it in the real world. First thing I'd say whilst driving along here in morning work traffic is that at slow speeds, fueling on this bike is lovely. There's no jerkiness, the engine's nice and smooth. That was one of the criticisms of the old 900, it was a bit vibey, a bit rough for a triple. Well, they worked hard to get rid of that on the new bike. Made some changes to the engine, and they've done some different mounting points to the handlebars and so on, put some rubber bungs around the place. I have to say, it seems to have worked. Not only that, the engine now sounds a bit more like a triple, and I for one say hurrah to that, because when Triumph changed the T-plane crank for their Tiger 900s, saying that it was a better option for off-roading, I was well disappointed, because I'm a fan of adventure bikes, but I seldom off-road. And I'm also a fan of the Triumph triple engine, and I love the sound of it, I love its smoothness. That was part of the attraction of the old Tiger 800 to me, so when they moved to the T-plane crank for the 900, it kind of was a step back. So this now feels more like a halfway house between the two. For me, I'll be even happier if Triumph went back to a normal firing order triple, but there we go, it's much improved in that area, so that's a plus point. What a glorious day, look at these leaves, it's absolutely beautiful out here at the moment. One of the things I don't like about this Rally Pro version of the bike is it is pretty tall. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm 5'8", and I'm very much on my tiptoes when I come to a halt on this. The bike doesn't have the feature that its big brother 1200 does, where you can press a button and reduce the ride height as you come to a halt. I wonder how long it'll be until you can do that on these, but of course it'll need electronic suspension before you can do that, and it doesn't have that fitted at the moment. The other thing I've noticed in the time that I've had the bike, the Rally Pro, which this is, has the bigger front wheel, 21-inch front wheel, and I have to say it behaves absolutely fine on the road. Obviously I'd need to do a back-to-back comparison with the GT version, which is the on-road version, which has the smaller 19-inch front wheel, to fully appreciate any differences. But certainly the larger front wheel wouldn't put me off having this if you are a taller person, and actually to you a big bike is a plus, which of course it will be for some people. But don't be put off the Rally Pro because it's got that larger front wheel. It handles absolutely fine on the road. And the other advantage of the Rally Pros, something actually that annoys me as a shorter rider, is that the Rally Pros always get the good paint schemes. This one looks splendid in its paint scheme, so that's another advantage if you want to get the Rally Pro and just ride it on the road. So by the GT you can't get this paint scheme. Another little hint for Triumph if you're watching, maybe you can make all paint schemes available on all variants. That would just make things a little bit fairer. Maybe you might sell some more bikes, I don't know. Just a thought. So just in case you're wondering where I am and what I'm up to this morning on this final ride of the bike, I'm actually riding from my home in Great Bristol up to Windsor. I'm actually going to the hospital there to do a bit of physio, or see the physio about my shoulder that I've had several operations on now. So that is the nature of my errand, but it's a 9 o'clock appointment, which puts it slap bang in commuting traffic. So I'm going to get there early, I suspect. Here I am already on the environs of High Wycombe. It's only 8:07, so I'm going to probably be way early by the time I get to Windsor. But as I say, the ride there does touch me on some faster roads. The A404 is a sort of dual carriageway, and then a bit of M4 as well as I get towards Windsor. So a good chance to test the bike on faster roads. Clutch on here is nice and light, so again, if you're in traffic, stop-starty stuff, no fatigue on the clutch. I must say the engine now does sound pretty good. You probably can't hear it very well on the Osmo Action 4's microphone, because it does, this camera does a very good job of isolating my voice from the background noise, which actually I think is quite a good thing. Sometimes when I'm talking about how a bike sounds, it would be good if you could hear it better. But the 900 does sound nice now. With a standard can, you wouldn't need to change the end can on this. Nice and agile as well. It does feel nice and light when you're on the move. Sadly, it doesn't feel light when you're pushing the bike around on your driveway. One of the other things I've found with this bike is it is, again, wouldn't be a problem if you're a tall person, but me as a bit of a shorty and a weakling, moving it around is quite hard. It feels quite heavy. Fun traffic situation. Come on lads, open up, let me through. Thank you. Bit of a gap here. Because you're high up, the mirrors are quite handy for a bit of filtering. Your mirrors tend to be over the top of everybody else's, so that's good. So yeah, a weighty old beast to move around your driveway, but when you're actually riding it, it feels nice and light, as is the case with all bikes, let's be honest. And even though it is tall, look, my feet, I'm very much on tiptoe on this at 5'8". It doesn't feel like I'm going to drop it. That's probably the kiss of death now, and I'll probably drop it, but I feel quite confident on the bike. What is going on here? Blimey. This is fun and games, this commuting lark, isn't it? Thank goodness I don't have to do this every day. This is where riding bikes to work makes so much sense, doesn't it? You don't generally need to get stuck in traffic. So possibly not my first choice for commuting through traffic this, but it's certainly doable, as you can see. Right, speak to you when we get onto a faster road. Alright, so on a slightly faster road now, albeit still amongst the traffic. What a nightmare if it's on the other side of the road there. Used to do this commute every day and it was not funny, I can tell you. But as I mentioned, on a bike, actually quite fun. Anyway, I managed to weave myself through High Wycombe. I'm on the 404 now, which takes me up to the M4 and then hence on to Windsor, where I'm heading. Doing around about 70 miles an hour. Got the screen in its uppermost position, and I have to say, for me at 5'8", it works really well. The wind is just touching the very top of my crash helmet, but it's clean, and I'm not feeling buffeted, which is what gives you the fatigue usually, doesn't it, on these things. So yeah, a bit of a fan of the screen, and also the fact that you can adjust it easily while you're on the move. And actually that seems to have made no difference to where the wind is hitting me. It does feel pretty sprightly now, the Tiger 900. Not that it didn't before, but yeah, the engine is lovely. Once you get to these higher speeds, then you start to notice that there is still some buzz around the bike. A little bit through the handlebars, a little bit through the seat, a little bit through the pegs. Just at that speed that you might want to be covering some distances if you're doing your, I don't know, European tour or whatever, you know, sort of the 70-ish miles an hour mark, which is a bit annoying. I don't think it's enough to put me off the bike. We're just conscious that it's there, and again it's another thing that I just suspect if they'd left that triple alone with its normal firing order, you wouldn't have any of that. Right, once I've dealt with this road, it's the M4 next. Oh, actually, will you notice there as I braked something else that I'm not a big fan of on this bike? And that is the amount of fork dive that you get on it. When you do give the anchors some, the front does dip down quite a lot. I mean, once you're aware of it, then I suppose no big deal, but it's more of a deal when you've got a passenger on the back. You're going to be smacking heads quite a bit. Right, a bit more filtrage, and then I hit the motorway. Speak to you then. Okay folks, welcome to the M4, the joys of at commuting time. This is one of the main motorways that leads into central London, so always busy at any time of day really. But at least it's moving, so that's good. Something I haven't mentioned on this ride is the quick shifter, which I have to say is very, very good on this bike. It's one of those ones that seems to introduce quite a big delay when you invoke it, you know, when it cuts the ignition. But it is quite nice and smooth, works well both up and down. The other thing that works quite well, in fact I could demonstrate it now, is the cruise control. It's not a radar activated one unfortunately, but if you just, you know, if you're on a long stint on a motorway, say, and you just want to rest your right hand, then you just set it up on this one button on the left hand side here. It shows you here, look, I'm set at 61 miles an hour at the moment, and you can cruise along just fine. Let's get out of the way of this truck. Don't like the look of these perilous looking girders. What joys motorways are in the morning, eh? Alright, next stop, Windsor. Okay folks, welcome to almost Windsor as we continue this commute in. And of course my first white van of the day, well the first one I've been stuck behind. So this little journey is almost over, so it'll be time to sum up in a second, but before I do that I just want to show you Windsor Castle on our left, which we might get a view of in a second. There goes a Harley of some sort. Hello sir. Is it Harley? Don't know what it is. Gosh, those handlebars would kill my shoulders. Not for me. So here we are, just up here to my left. Look, get a glance through the trees. May not be able to see it because it'll look a long way away on the camera. But just up there we have Windsor Castle. Home to the King of England. The flag's not flying on the top, so he's not in at the moment. So he must be at his other home, Buckingham Palace. Or maybe his other home in Gloucestershire, who knows. Very close to Heathrow Airport here as well, so we're on the flight path. Look, there's a 777 coming into Heathrow now. Right, as we cross the river, this is the River Thames. It flows, of course, into London. We are now properly into Windsor, which I imagine will be very busy at this time of day. It's 8:41. It's worked out pretty well, my commute, actually. As a commuter, the bike works perfectly well. So quick sum up then on the Tiger 900. If it was me, I would have the GT version. I think it'd just be a little bit more manageable, a little bit lower seat height, makes sense for a shorter person. But if you're a tall person, don't be put off the Rally Pro as a road bike, because it actually works fine, as hopefully you've seen on this video. And you get a choice of better colours. Get the negatives out of the way, things I don't like. I don't like the fact that it's still got a few vibes. I don't like this fork dive when you come to a stop. And the main thing for me that I don't like is it does feel heavy when you move it around at standstill. It's fine when you're riding, of course, but at standstill, moving it around your garage. And that's what would put me off buying one, I think. So just give that a try before you commit to buying one. On the plus side, pricing's great. Loads of electronics, great facilities. It looks like an adventure bike should look. It's got that brilliant Triumph triple engine. It's got loads of go. There's really not much to not like about it other than those things I've said. It is a lovely, lovely bike, and if you're in the market for an adventure bike, and maybe now those premium bikes, the GSs of the world and so on, are just getting a bit out of reach, definitely consider something like the new Tiger 900. It's really come on leaps and bounds, and these little iterations they made over the last model, over the last year, are definitely all improvements. And if you haven't ridden one since maybe the 800, you'll be surprised and stunned how good the bike is now. And it was good before. Right, so I'm off to get my shoulder bent around in all sorts of unpleasant places. hopefully I'll still be able to ride home afterwards. But that's it for this final ride review. Hope you enjoyed that, but hopefully it's given you a bit of real world insight into what the Tiger 900 Rally Pro is like to live with. If it's your first time along to the Missenden Flyer, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I don't just do bike reviews here on the Missenden Flyer, I do trips and tours at home and abroad. I do bits and pieces about looking after your bike in the garage, monthly bike news, the odd live stream, basically anything and everything to do with motorcycles. I'll try and cover it here on the Missenden Flyer. It'll be great to have you along next time. Alright, until then, this has been Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.
Hey kids, we're the Missenden Flyers!
Ooh, posh hospital, full of posh people.